Welcome to Bad Goodbyes. Each week on our show, we spotlight species from the IUCN Critically Endangered Red List. These are plants and animals with decreasing populations, nearing the edges of extinction. So we'll share species research, information, and conservation proposals, and then we'll spend part of the show opening a space for contemplation and awe. We'll perform a soundscape of gentleness, of reflection, of delight, and maybe of grieving. Without conservation activity and significant societal shift, many of these species may not survive the 21st century. And so perhaps we might acknowledge their journey with a moment of our attention, a recognition of our kinship, and with a commitment to personal and systemic change. Thank you for listening. On today's show, we consider the Grenada dove. The Grenada dove is a critically endangered avian species, a bird, native to the island of Grenada in the Caribbean Sea. Its scientific name is Leptotila wellsi. The Grenada dove is a medium-sized ground dove that measures roughly 1 foot in length from beak tip to tail feather. It weighs roughly half a pound. Its plumage is a soft tan, light brown, with deeper brown wing and tail feathers, and cream to white lower breast and belly. It has a short, skinny black beak, black eyes ringed in white or yellow, and crimson red legs and feet. Its toes are arranged in an anisodactyl formation, so that's 3 toes pointing forward, 1 toe backward. This is an adaptation for gripping and perching upon the low branches of their habitat. The Grenada dove is a terrestrial bird, meaning that it spends most of its time on the ground. Contrast this to arboreal birds who spend most of their time in trees, aquatic birds who thrive in the water, and aerial birds whose lives are largely spent in the air. Terrestrial, the Grenada dove forages on the forest floor, perches on low branches, less than 20 feet in the air, and has only been observed flying very short distances. In fact, when the dove is startled or senses predator threat, it drops to the forest floor and flees, running, not flying, into deep cover to hide. Which is adorable and also seems like A not super successful escape strategy. But ornithologists, that's scientists who study birds, suggest that this is an historic adaptation. So before invasive land mammals were introduced to the island, the Grenada dove's primary predators were birds of prey, like hawks and kites, species who could surely outfly the dove and are too large to navigate the tangled brush of the forest floor. So, for most of its evolutionary history, fleeing on foot was a viable defense. The Grenada dove is a rare and reclusive species, frequently described as shy in the literature I reviewed. Sightings are rare. Its plumage, a camouflage in the ground cover, and it is more often identified by its distinctive song, which is a long, descending whoo that repeats every 5 to 10 seconds. So let's listen. This is a recording made by Barry Edmonston in February 2025 in Grenada. So note, the brighter trilling birdsong you'll hear is likely a gray kingbird. Instead, we're listening for the deeper, less frequent whoo. That's our Grenada dove. Okay, let's hear it. The Grenada dove is a solitary species, generally found alone or in pairs. They do not congregate in flocks, and territorial behavior has been observed in males of the species. They do form long-term pair bonds, and that coo we just heard was likely a male courting a potential female mate. Territories are established, pair bonds form, and mating occurs from roughly June to December. Research suggests that only a single nest has been observed, which was a dozen feet up in a palm tree holding 2 small white eggs. Both male and female take turns incubating the eggs, which hatch after about 2 weeks. The young are born altricial, meaning they hatch helpless, blind and with minimal down, requiring parental care, which is provided by both the male and the female. And then 2 weeks after hatching, the young fledge, which means they leave the nest and begin to fend for themselves. Grenada dove are omnivorous. Their diet primarily consists of fallen seeds and fruit. They forage from the forest floor, though they will also consume some animal protein, so small invertebrate like grubs, insects, and caterpillars. They are diurnal, meaning they are most active during the day, foraging, poking through the leaf litter in the forest floor in the early morning and late afternoon hours. In the dream, here in the descending years of my one wander on this earth, this noisy blue bulb in a void of celestial silence, the band is a song so tender that I'm weeping in Union Pool again. But the song is so quiet and my sniffles are so loud, I slip out to cry in the courtyard in the spitting summer rain, looking up into the gray-smeared sky, looking down into my can of beer. My tears are diamonds, are pearls, are Bitcoin, are essential alchemicals. For tonight, I am a listener, which is perhaps the most lucrative of vocations. Tonight, I have granted passage of another song into the deepest parts of me and invited it to frolic and torment. A child singing happy birthday, an Ada Limon poem, a band at a bar, a lonesome bird coos at the island's edge. Sometimes I was listening. And sometimes I think you were too. And so someday, when our path turns from concrete and promises to dirt and grass, then to pebble and sand, at the trailhead where the water laps at death's barge, we will purchase our tickets with the wind through sycamore, with MP3s from our lovers, with the bird song we remember, and sweet smiling death will say, "Welcome aboard," in the dream. The Grenada dove is native to the island of Grenada, the southernmost of the Windward Islands in the east of the Caribbean Sea. Its remaining population is split between two distinct subpopulations, one on the southwest of the island in and near Mount Hartman National Park and Dove Sanctuary, and the other to the west at Perseverance Dove Sanctuary near Woodford Estates. These subpopulations do not intermix, do not interbreed. They are entirely separated by the city of St. George's, Grenada's capital. In both locations, the dove's habitat is tropical, dry, broadleaf forest. Remnant ecosystems once more widespread across the island, but today these are pockets of secondary growth shaped by historic human agriculture and development. Vegetation is dense thorny scrub, succulents, and small trees adapted to the arid climate, forming a low, tangled canopy. These are rugged, low-lying coastal hills and valleys with thin rocky soils covered in leaf litter and dense undergrowth. It's a tropical climate with relatively consistent temperatures throughout the year. Summer highs average in the mid-80s Fahrenheit, and winter lows rarely drop beneath 70 degrees. There are distinct wet and dry seasons, and these coastal zones of the dove's habitat see significantly less precipitation than the island's interior. Rainfall averages roughly 50 inches per year, with a rainy season from June to December and a dry season from January to May. The Grenada dove shares its island home with Grenada wren, Zenadia dove, nine-banded armadillo, papaya tree, gray kingbird, turnip-tailed gecko, Grenada hook-billed kite, Barber's tropical racer, West Indian birch, white indigo berry, Grenada trianole, mother of cocoa, spiny amaranth, giant ameva, acacia, scaly-naped pigeon, Grenada worm snake, lesser Antillean tanager, logwood, eared dove, and many, many more. Historically, the Grenada dove's population has been significantly reduced by habitat destruction from human development, specifically commercial agriculture. Grenada has been peopled for over 2,000 years, but major transformation of the landscape did not occur until the 1700s, when French and British imperialists razed portions of the island to create sugarcane and indigo plantations worked by enslaved persons stolen from Africa. Today, the Grenada dove continues to be threatened by habitat loss and degradation. For example, a proposed tourist resort would take land from the Mount Harmon Sanctuary, which threatens the southwest population, and the population in the west is at risk of habitat degradation from a growing nearby landfill. Extreme weather events resulting from human-induced climate change are already impacting the Grenada dove. In 2004, Hurricane Ivan struck Grenada's west coast, reducing the western subpopulation of dove by over 60%. Predation by human-introduced invasive species is an additional threat. introduced mongoose, cats, rats, and possum prey on the Grenada dove. And as mentioned earlier, the Grenada dove's defensive behavior of running to thick cover, which is effective against birds of prey, is much less successful against these ground-dwelling, introduced mammal predators. And lastly, simply low population and lack of genetic diversity in the remaining population is a looming threat. Fortunately, the Grenada dove is receiving conservation attention. The Grenadian government, in an effort to raise awareness of the threatened species, named the Grenada dove its national bird in 1991. They established the Mount Harmon National Park and Dove Sanctuary to help protect the southwest subpopulation, and the Perseverance Dove Sanctuary to help protect the western subpopulation. The government's recovery plan includes education and community outreach to build awareness, and legally protects the species from hunting and egg collection. Active predator control programs have been implemented within both the Mount Harmon and Perseverance protected areas. So trapping of mongoose and rat has successfully removed high numbers of these human-introduced predators from the dove's native habitat. Nevertheless, the Grenada dove has been considered critically endangered on the IUCN Red List since 1994, and their population is currently in decline. A recent August 2025 population viability analysis, which modeled population trends, effects of extreme weather, habitat loss and degradation, etc., suggests that without increased conservation activity, the Grenada dove's western subpopulation will go extinct within the next 20 years. And the southwestern subpopulation has a 93% chance of extinction within the next 50 years. The most recent counts estimate that less than 190 Grenada dove remain in the wild. Information for today's show about the Grenada dove was compiled from Bird Conservation International, Volume 26, Number 2, from Birds of the World at the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, from the Auk, Volume 106, Issue 2, from the IUCN, Caribbean Compass from September 2024, from Bird Conservation International, Volume 33, The Journal for Nature Conservation from August 15th, 2025, from The Condor, Volume 117, Number 1, the West Indies Journal of Caribbean Ornithology, Volume 30, Number 1. Our sound recording was by Barry Edmonston from 2025. For more information about Grenada Dove conservation, see Birds Caribbean at birdscaribbean.org. So in a moment, I would like to perform some music in hopes of holding space to be in contemplation of the other lives with whom we share our earth. I do not intend to put meaning upon or extract meaning from the Grenada Dove. Instead, I want this music to simply express my human awe at other life. And so I will pause in the space of sound and reflection and solidarity, and I warmly invite you to join me. I honor the life force of the Grenada Dove. I will commit its human name to my record. I am so grateful to have shared time on our planet with this magnificent being. I lament the ways in which I and my species have harmed and diminished this species. I grieve. And so, in the name of the Grenada Dove, I pledge to reduce my consumption, my carbon footprint, and my wastefulness. I pledge to acknowledge and attempt to address the costs of my actions and inactions. I pledge to resist the harm of plant and animal kin or their habitat by individuals, corporations, and governments. I forever pledge my song to the witness and memory of all life, to a broad celebration of biodiversity, and to the total liberation of all beings. This has been Bad Goodbyes. Thank you for listening. Until next time, let's take care of each other and all of our kin.